We're here with Ashley Hlebinsky, who's the curator of the Cody Firearms Museum. Really a unique place, very unique place. Tell people a little bit about what's there.
So the Cody Firearms Museum is one of 5 museums at the Buffalo Bills Center of the West, and it is this huge 40-acre property in a town of 9,000 people. But even though we're a town of 9,000, we get about 200 to 250,000 people through the door every year because we're really close to Yellowstone. And the Firearms Museum itself is about 40,000 square feet. It's over 2 floors. We've got about 8,000 firearms in the collection, over 20,000 firearms accoutrements, ammunition, anything that goes with guns. We've got it. And our collection spans from the 1200s with crossbows all the way up to our most recent manufactured firearm is from 2016. And it's international and encyclopedic. So it is something for everyone.
Anything stand out? Is there any artifact in there that really stands out?
Oh gosh, we have so many that stand out. Probably one of the weirdest looking ones and one that people like a lot is it's called the Lincoln Head Hammer Gun. Yeah. It's exactly what it sounds like. It is a breech loading rifle, and instead of having a traditional hammer, it's a portrait bust of Lincoln's head.
Seriously?
Seriously. It was designed by Hiram Berdan, who is really well known for the Berdan sharpshooters from the Civil War. And Berdan actually met with President Lincoln, and Lincoln was on to authorize the formation of these units. And the story goes that he made that gun, because he also designed guns, but he made that gun kind of as a thank you to Lincoln, although it never went to him. And then the even weirder part of the story is that we have no idea how it became a part of the original Winchester collection. So we house this huge collection, the Winchester collection, and it's just one of those many guns in there, and we don't know how they got it. It's the nuttiest thing.
Worked out for you, though.
Oh, yeah.
How did you get into doing this?
So I originally wanted to be a doctor, and I was always interested in the history of medicine. And I grew up in Pittsburgh, so Gettysburg is like 3 hours away. And I went on a Civil War medicine tour, and and they talked about how the advancements of weapons technology altered medical technology on the battlefield. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. I hadn't really thought about it like that. I went to Colonial Williamsburg, got a similar story, different type of projectile. And I decided, you know what, I think I'd like to study history, and I think I'd like to do something with military history. So I got out of the sciences, and I changed my major to history. My mother was real proud.
I bet that went over big, yeah.
Especially since she's a physics teacher. And I got an internship at the Soldiers and Sailors National Memorial Hall in Pittsburgh. And it's the building is actually from the Grand Army of the Republic, and it was an old meeting place. And it interprets Western Pennsylvania military history from the Civil War through today. And so at that internship, they basically put like 200 guns in front of me, and I had never held a gun before in my life. I was 18, and I had to identify what they were, what had been modified, all the collection stuff that you need to know, and I just got hooked.
How did you end up in Cody?
So once I realized that I wanted to do history and museum work, I decided to get as much experience as possible. So I interned where I could. I took a firearms class where I learned how to shoot pistols, and I learned how to shoot all kinds of guns. But I ended up as an intern at the Smithsonian in the botany department.
Okay.
I don't know anything about plants, I still don't. But while I was there, I got in contact with the curator of the firearms collection. And I ended up working with him. I was a research fellow there. And I worked with him for 3 years while I got my undergraduate and graduate degrees. And Cody is a Smithsonian affiliate.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So I very sneakily used my Smithsonian email account to email Cody, and the curator invited me out. That was 8 years ago. And I came out, I saw the collection, and he made a joke, next summer we're going to get you back out here. And I laughed, and the following summer I was there. And I did summers and winters with Cody on research fellowships and different jobs. And when I got my master's degree, they brought me out full time.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's great. How old is the museum?
The Buffalo Bills Center of the West is actually a little over 100 years old. In 1917, when Buffalo Bill passed away, his niece, Mary Jester Allen, wanted to create an organization that would talk about his legacy. He founded the town of Cody, Wyoming. And since then, it's grown. So we've got the Whitney Western Art Museum, the Cody Museum, the Draper, the Plains Indian, and the Buffalo Bill Museum. Our museum, though, got its start in 1975 when the Olin Corporation was looking for a place to house 4,000 firearms that they had in New Haven. And so they ultimately loaned the collection to us. And on July 4th, 1976, John Wayne helped to dedicate the collection to the center. And then in '88, they gave us the collection outright. And in 1991, we had built an entire new wing in the center, and we opened the Cody Firearms Museum.
So it's an older facility, so you're doing some renovation now.
Yes, we are completely redoing the museum. We are staying within the same footprint, so we got 40,000 square feet, top floor, lower level, and we are redoing everything. So we're going to add different galleries. There'll be 4 firearm simulators. You get to shoot a Browning M2 in our military wing. And one of the things, though, that we're looking at is when they built the Firearms Museum, it was really a place for gun collectors and gun enthusiasts, which we love. But we also, since then, have got a huge, large population of people that don't know anything about guns. They pay their admission to go to one of the other museums, or they're from, around the world, and they're on their way to Yellowstone, and they wander in. And so we realize we don't do a great job in educating them. It's a lot of guns on display with very little context. And so we realized that we probably are the only gun museum in the country where non-gun people are actively going. And so we decided that we're going to balance it. So we'll have 6,000 objects on display for the collector and the enthusiast. We're dedicating an entire level to deep research and collecting. But then on our main level where you walk in, you'll see a firearms basics and safety section. They'll get to learn what's a rifle, what's a pistol, all those terms we take for granted, and a lot of people don't know. They'll get to work a bolt action, a lever action, work the slide on a semi-auto, and then in that same gallery, get to shoot one of the simulators and learn about stance, proper grip, how to line up with iron sights. And then that kind of is a primer, if you will. We like to say that gun pun right there, to the rest of the museum. Then they'll go in and learn the evolution of firearms, military history, the story of the West, and we'll have a science center in the back, so you'll learn a little bit about the basics, and then you'll go in the back. Timney Triggers just donated $500,000 to help out the science wing. And so you'll get really hands-on back there, and then we'll have a temporary rotating exhibition so that we can bring in different collectors exhibitions, different themed exhibitions, and you know what? Gun manufacturers like Winchester have a lot of really good collections in their factories that we'd love to see out on display for the public.
So when is the renovation going to be over?
So the renovation is going to be over in June of 2019. And just so you know, if you're planning your vacations, we are starting to take down some of the art right now, all the non-gun things. But the museum is open, and the firearms will stay in their cases until about mid-August. And then we will have a satellite exhibition. We're going to have about 500 of our best guns on display, so that if you come in the fall, if you're on a hunting trip or something, you'll still get to see firearms. And then we'll reopen June 2019, and like I said, the grand opening will be July 4th, 2019.
Well, that's amazing. So that's got to cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to help, or a corporation, or even an individual, what can they do?
So it is a $12 million project. We've raised about $9 million, and like I said, Timney was a huge sponsor, and a lot of private individuals and federal grants have actually been really great. So if you're interested in helping us out, I would love that. And you can contact me. My email is ashleyh@centerofthewest.org. I'd love to talk to you, kind of tell you a little bit more about the project. If there's an area you're interested in, I've got plenty of information for you.
That's terrific. The Cody Firearms Museum. You got to check that out. And for SHOT Show TV, I'm David Lomardo.